Okay guys, so now we're on to the next one. Again, happy Friday. So let's roll right into it. So today we're gonna do load data on the 45 Colt. This is the 250 grain round nose flat point bullet. This is a high-tech coated bullet. This does have one lube groove and a crimp groove in it, but obviously since it's a coated bullet, there's no lube in it. We did crimp right into it, but I'll talk a little bit more about that in a second. So for powder choices, we chose Titegroup, Vihtavuori N320, Winchester 231, and then ACME number 5. So for the Titegroup, we started at 5.6 grains of powder and then went all the way up to 6.2 grains of powder with the Vihtavuori N320, which was probably, or I guess I think it's going to be one of my favorites. I really like the grains of the powder and how they look. They're a little bit larger grain compared to some of the other ones. So started at 5.9 grains of powder there and finished at 6.8. Then we went to the Winchester 231, which is one of my favorites too. Started at 6.5 grains of powder, and then we're finished at 7.2 grains. The Winchester 231 is a really good all-around powder. We see that one a lot for powders that you can select from, honestly, a lot of these different bullets that we've been loading for. And the nice thing about that too is it's pretty available. The Winchester 231, as you can find it in most places. So that's why we like to include that. And then the last one that we chose today was the ACME number 5. This one, compared to the other ones, has quite a bit more powder in the case, so it's a slower burning powder. So we started at 10.5 grains of powder with the ACME number 5, and then we finished at 11 grains of powder. We used a Federal primer and some brand new virgin Starline brass. Our case overall length is at 1.570, and like I did in the last video, we will have that in with the data charts at the end, so you don't have to remember that right now. It will be in at the end of the video. So we got them all loaded up now, so we're going to take them out to the range and we will shoot them. I guess there is one thing too. This is more of a specific rifle load. This is not really a pistol load. This is more rifle, so we will be shooting these out of a Rossi 45 Colt lever gun. So we'll meet you guys out on the range and we'll show you that gun out there. Okay, so we're out on the range now. So this is gonna be shot through the Rossi 92. So we did change it up a little bit for the targets. Instead of the small diamond targets, we switched to the big circular targets just because we are shooting out at 35 yards here. So we're gonna shoot these up, take all that information. We'll meet you guys inside after that. Alrighty guys, so I got something a little bit new for you today. So instead of the standard charts that I have been making, I made a new one today, and this is based off like other load data books. So this is our data, our information that in our velocities that we took on the range that we just were out on, but made more like you would see in a standard loading data book. So this chart right here, this is for the ACME high-tech coated 45 Colt 250 grain round nose flat point, and this is a rifle specific load with these charges and these velocities. So at case overall length, we're at 1.570, and I did add our sectional density of the bullet, which is 0.174. The bullet diameter, obviously these are sized to a 4.52, and for our rifle that we shot these out of, this was the Rossi 92. These did function very, very well through this rifle. We didn't have any malfunctions. Granted, we were kind of feeding one at a time, but we did run a few through it, and they still worked very, very well. Very impressed with them. So I think we nailed it right on the spot where they needed to be for case overall length. And another reason why we did get that case overall length is because we crimped right into the crimp groove that's on that bullet. So that's another reason why we were in there. For our casings, we used some Starline virgin brass, and then for primers, it was a Federal number 200 primer. So let's get into it. So the Hodgdon Titegroup. So starting at for your 950 feet per second, you're going to be at 5.6 grains of powder. So that's your starting load. So your green marks are your minimum load, your starting load, and then obviously your middle one, and then your maximum load. So then at 1,000 feet per second, we're at 5.9 grains of powder, and then at our top for the Titegroup, which was 6.2 grains, you should be right around the 1,050 feet per second. With the Titegroup across the board, and actually with all these powders, given the circumstance that we were shooting them out of a rifle, our SDs were really, really good on all of our loads. So like this one actually, I think this probably was our highest SD across the board, which was 18.4 feet per second. And even at like the 4 point, and I guess that's at the 5.6 grains of powder. But at the 5.9 grains of powder, we're at 7.2 feet per second. And then at the 6.2 grains of powder, we had an SD of 5.6 feet per second. So our SDs are really, really low. So we had good loading, which was nice to see. Our power factors range from 238 all the way up to 260. And so our 238 was at the 5.6 grains of powder, obviously, and then the 5.9 grains was 253. And that 6.2 grains, we had a power factor of 260. So these ones were a little bit lower on the power factor compared to some of the other ones, so because they were just a little bit slower. But so the Hodgdon Titegroup was a pretty good powder. It wasn't the most accurate powder that we had tested here. That was the next one, which was the Vihtavuori N320. So this one was a little bit slower though, which was actually the slowest powder out of all four. So at 900 feet per second, you're going to be looking at 5.9 grains of this guy right here. And a little note about the Vihtavuori powder is, it's kind of hard to explain. I was talking to Mitch about this the other day too. It seems dry. Like the powder seems very clean and dry, and I like that. It was an appealing factor to the Vihtavuori or the Vihtavuori N320 powders. To be honest with you, the majority of Vihtavuori powders that I've seen now have had that same consistency of that like very clean and dry feel to them. Where sometimes this Titegroup seems just to be like dirty. You know, you put it in the bag, or you put it in your fingers and you rub it around, and it gets your fingers all dirty and black. Where the Vihtavuori didn't do that. So that was something that was a little bit appealing to me and that I like to see. It just seemed clean. And this was our most accurate powder that we shot. So at 900 feet per second, you're at 5.9 grains of powder. And at 950 feet per second, you're at 6.4 grains of powder. And then our max load that we tried, which was at 1,000 feet per second, was 6.8 grains of powder. So not very quick for this stuff. For the Vihtavuori, it was a little bit on the slower side for our average, but still pretty good powder. Honestly, like I said, this was our most accurate one. We shot the best groups with this, but I liked it overall. My favorite powder, just because of that clean look to it, that clean feel to it, and I like that. So the next one, the Winchester 231, another one of my favorites just for the all-around use, is you can use it for a ton of different stuff, especially when it comes to lead cast. So we started at 1,000 feet per second, which was our starting load of 6.5 grains of powder. Then we went up to 6.8 grains of powder, and that was at 1,050 feet per second. And then we finished at right around 1,100 feet per second at 7.2 grains of powder. With this one, our power factor was at our 7.2 grains, which was, our power factor was 269. So it's pretty good. And then even at like 6.5 grains, we're at 249. 6.8 grains of powder, we were at 257. So the Winchester 231 was probably my number 2 pick. So my first one was the Vihtavuori N320, Winchester 231 for number 2. Hodgdon Titegroup was number 3. And then the last one, that was my favorite, which this one was significantly, I'd say, different than the other charges, which was the accurate number 5. So with this one, we had way more powder in the case than the other powders that we selected. So starting at 10.5 grains of powder, which we were at 1,150 feet per second. So a lot faster than the other powders and a ton more powder, which obviously those two things are probably going to correlate. And then at 1,200 feet per second, we're at 10.8 grains. And then our max load, which is 11 grains of powder, we were right at like the 1,250 feet per second. So our power factor was significantly higher on these ones. Even at our bottom load, which was 10.5 grains, we had a power factor of 294. At 10.8 grains, we were at 301, which was the first time we broke over 300 with any of our low data videos for power factors. And then at 11 grains, we were at 305 for a power factor. Again, the SDs were great on this, like 9.1, 10.1, and then 5.2. So great SDs on that. If you're looking for something for speed and maybe like a hunting load or something, the accurate number 5 definitely could be the pick for you. But I think if you're looking for like a plinking, just want to plink some steel or shooting at the range, I don't know if that one's that. It definitely had a lot more snap to it, a little bit more recoil compared to the other ones, but if you had to ask me, out of the Rossi 92, I would pick the Vihtavuori N320. So let me know if you guys like this type of chart here. If you don't, we can go back to the other ones, but we wanted to, you know, try this one, see how it feels. This is, like I said, something you would see that would look a lot more like you would see it if it was in a loading data book. So, but we appreciate you guys watching. Go check out the rest of our videos. Happy Friday. Have a great weekend, and we'll see you guys later.